I've always felt like an outsider. Like I'm a square peg to society's big round hole. That didn't come out right, but you get the point. And when I polled my audience about belonging, a whopping 90% of people said they felt the same way. For most of my life, this feeling made me think something was wrong with me. And as I scrolled through the comments to my audience poll, I discovered that so many people also felt this way. There was a part of me that desperately wanted to belong, constantly looking around for people and places that I could call home. But there was also a deep little whisper inside of me that said I didn't belong anywhere or to anyone on this earth, that I was designed this way on purpose. I had no idea what this whisper meant at the time, so I spent years feeling sad and lonely because I didn't belong anywhere. But everything changed with my spiritual awakening. When I woke up from the hypnosis that was my life before 2013, many things started to make sense to me, especially when I started working with clients from all over the world. The little whisper that had been telling me all along that I wasn't supposed to belong became a scream, and I discovered this fundamental truth for myself and so many other people. I'm not actually here to belong, and neither are you. I know this is a very controversial statement because it goes against what society tells us, but discovering this truth changed my life and gave me a profound sense of freedom, peace, and joy. And the same is possible for you too. But first, let's backtrack. What's belonging? A common mainstream definition of belonging is this. Belongingness is the human emotional need to be an accepted member of a group. American psychologist Abraham Maslow believed that belonging was a core human need among 5 major ones. In his world-famous Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you see these needs mapped out in a pyramid like this. The closer you get to the base of the pyramid, the more basic and fundamental the need is. So according to Maslow, physiological needs like food and water and safety needs are the most basic, and then you move up into love and belongingness. So to Maslow, belonging is the 3rd most important human need. Researcher Brené Brown, in her beautiful book, The Atlas of the Heart, writes this. Any discussion of belonging has to start with acknowledging that love and belonging are irreducible needs for all people. In the absence of love and belonging, there is always suffering. I love Brené Brown's work, and we'll talk about it more later, and I also respect Maslow's work too, but I disagree in one key place. Belonging is not a fundamental need for everyone, and a lack of belonging does not always cause suffering. In fact, for some people, believing that they have to belong is what causes the most suffering. It took me years to understand this about myself and the thousands of clients I've worked with, but whenever I used to hear researchers say that belonging was a fundamental need, that didn't feel true to me. It didn't sit well in my body. I just didn't know why at the time, so I kept thinking that there must be something wrong with me, and I suffered a lot because I kept accepting this societal belief as true. My mind kept saying, there must be something wrong with you, so go fix yourself in order to belong. But there was never anything wrong with me, and there's nothing wrong with you either. So if I were to redesign the Maslow hierarchy of needs, I would just scratch out the word belonging from it. Love is another story because it's an energy that we're made of and come from. It's intrinsic to ourselves, so I don't even see it as a need. It's just an ever-present energy to me. Now, when I say that belonging is not an emotional need for everyone, I mean that I believe Brené Brown's and Maslow's research doesn't cover one core group of people. These are the people that I call template changers. That's you and me. Template changers are souls who incarnate on Earth with a mission to change collective ingrained beliefs, subconscious programs, and old energy templates on the planet. This is why template changers don't fit in. They can't fit in because their natural energy is meant to change the old templates to the new ones. They're meant to help their fellow humans evolve and raise their consciousness and energy. This is why template changers don't have a fundamental need to belong to people or places outside of themselves. Their entire energy system has prepared them to come down here and shake things up, and their souls know this type of mission can be solitary at times. If you come down here to help change old beliefs and templates, it's very likely that you won't be accepted in groups that continue to live by these old templates, which means that you probably won't be accepted in almost every group on the planet. Your soul knows this, and so template changers are encoded to bypass certain experiences that may be fundamental needs to other humans. And this is where I go back to that quote by Brené Brown, where she said, in the absence of belonging, there is always suffering. For template changers, it's actually the opposite. They suffer most when they don't know who they are, and they force themselves to believe they need to belong because society tells them so. Years ago, I was watching an interview that Brené Brown did, and she mentioned a quote by Maya Angelou that she said had always troubled her. So I wanted to see what the quote was, and I looked up the whole interview. It was an interview that Maya did with Bill Moyers in 1973, where she was talking about not belonging anywhere.
At some point, you only are free when you realize you belong no place. You belong every place, no place at all. The price is high. The reward is great.
When I heard Maya say this, all the cells in my body vibrated, because here was one of the world's greatest template changers, a woman who broke every societal norm and challenged power and was a beacon of light to so many. She was putting into words what I had always felt true in my body. To me, Maya's words meant that template changers must learn to see belongingness without attachment or neediness. We don't cling to belonging. We don't see it as a fundamental need that we have to chase or have in order to be happy. If we belong and are accepted by a group of people, then that's wonderful. This is true in my own private community, Heart Alchemy, where people come together and help each other heal and evolve. And there are other communities out there where you can feel the same sense of belonging too. But if we go through stretches in our lives when we feel like complete aliens and belong nowhere at all, that's wonderful too. As soon as we let go of the societal belief that belonging is a need, we stop chasing or seeking it. We stop feeling depressed or lonely when we don't belong, and we learn to do something that most humans haven't mastered yet. We learn to stand alone. This is often a very painful lesson for template changers, and it sometimes takes them a long time to learn that if they're going to belong to anyone, it should be to themselves first. Check out what Maya says about this in that same Bill Moyers interview.
I belong to myself. I'm very proud of that. I am very concerned about how I look at Maya. I like Maya very much. I like the humor and the courage very much.
Learning to stand alone requires a strong energy system, and one of the ways to strengthen that system is to practice daily spiritual routines. I put together a free guide with my top 20 night routines that will help you relax and prepare your energy for a great night's sleep. The more rested your nights are, the stronger your energy system gets. Click on the link in the description box of this video to download this free guide and start using the powerful practices tonight. From a spiritual perspective, what makes a template changer so energetically powerful is what's known as the merkaba. The merkaba is a light body that encases your physical body. On paper, it looks like two triangles with their bases facing each other and the tips of the triangles facing in opposite directions. This hexagon shape is a sacred geometric shape present in nature and in many cultures, like the symbol of Judaism known as the Star of David. But the merkaba only looks like a hexagon on a two-dimensional surface. Three-dimensionally, the merkaba is actually two interlocked pyramids or tetrahedrons that spin in opposite directions to each other. The major particularity of the merkaba is that it rotates at incredibly fast speeds, so when a medium or psychic who can see light body looks at it, all they can see sometimes is just a glowing egg. For template changers, the merkaba is essential because it literally carries what's known as their unique energy blueprint. This is a blueprint that you carry and that will help you change old templates and beliefs down here on Earth. Your blueprint is unique. No other template changer in the world has the same blueprint. You carry this energy blueprint in the walls of your merkaba, which look like a net or even a computer network. Or sometimes I see the walls of my merkaba like a network of brain cells or neurons. There are 3 phases of a template changer's path on Earth, and each of them involve the merkaba. In phase 1, blueprint is dormant. This usually happens early in life when the child is immature and dependent on adults to raise them. So they initially take on societal, family, and cultural templates like a sponge. And they may believe all these templates because their unique blueprint is dormant. If they try to be themselves in this phase of their lives, they often become victims of bullying or are ostracized by other children or even their own families. This phase can last a long time into adulthood, especially if the template changer is sensitive to what others think or say about them. If they are, they may spend years being people pleasers or trying desperately to fit in. They don't know who they are, and they end up getting stuck in believing that fitting in or belonging is a necessity to them. They can suffer a lot from loneliness and self-judgment in this phase because as much as they try to fit in, they know something is different about them, they just don't know what. Phase 2 is when the merkaba activates. Inevitably, there comes a point when the merkaba of the template changer activates. Usually this happens when they have a spiritual awakening, but it can happen anytime the soul sees fit. When the merkaba activates, it starts to spin faster and faster, and the walls of the merkaba begin to shake to a point where the old templates or beliefs start to fly off. All the old beliefs that the template changer accepted begin to peel off of the merkaba because they were never inherent in you. Template changers will start to say things like, I don't believe that anymore, or I don't want to keep doing this anymore. Sometimes the change is so rapid that it scares them and the people around them, because they can become entirely different people very quickly when the merkaba starts to vibrate like this. In this phase, they also start to question everything in their lives, their beliefs, their ways of thinking, and all the energy they bring from the past, including inherited energy from past generations. They are very interested in becoming aware of all of this old stuff because as it leaves, then they start to discover who they want to be, how they want to think, and how they want to experience the world. The faster the merkaba spins, the more is revealed of the authentic and unique blueprint of the template changer, and the person they were always meant to be starts to be revealed to them. It reminds me of the Buddhist story of the Golden Buddha. In the 1950s in Thailand, a monastery was being relocated and they were trying to move a gigantic clay Buddha when it cracked, and the monks noticed that there was golden light coming from that crack. The monks started to chip at it and finally noticed that the giant Buddha was actually made out of solid gold once all the clay came off. Historians later realized that the gold Buddha had been covered in clay hundreds of years before, so it could be hidden during an invasion by the Burmese army. This story is so perfect for phase 2 of the template changer's life because the same thing is happening at the level of the merkaba. Old, superficial dirt in the form of societal beliefs and templates are coming off, revealing the unique blueprint of the template changer. Then comes phase 3, when the merkaba emanates. This is when the unique blueprint of the template changer comes into full effect, and it emanates out of the merkaba and into the world. The template changer gets stronger, they get more confident, and they start standing in their uniqueness. They're no longer interested in fitting in. They just want to be themselves, without all the old templates that kept them stuck and heavy. And they no longer are afraid to stand out, even if they stand alone. In this phase, the template changer wants to live a deeply authentic life, speaking their truth and living unapologetically. They have no problem questioning established norms, beliefs, and templates, and the more authentically they live, the more their merkaba actually implants these new codes and energy into the earth, into the planetary grid. As other people look to the template changer and start to join in, more and more people let go of old ways of thinking and behaving. Once a threshold is reached, those old beliefs and templates are changed and new energy is implanted onto the earth. So your mission, should you choose to accept it.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
I love Mission Impossible. Your mission is to bring your unique energy blueprint onto the planet and help change old beliefs and templates down here on Earth. Bring new energy, new ways of thinking and living. Sometimes you may belong, other times you won't, but you keep being you regardless. And here's a little hack about belonging that Brené Brown talked about in one of the most watched TED Talks of all times.
There was only one variable that separated the people who have a strong sense of love and belonging and the people who really struggle for it, and that was the people who have a strong sense of love and belonging believe they're worthy of love and belonging. That's it. They believe they're worthy.
So regardless of whether you belong or not, know that you're a worthy and loved child of God. Template changers also go through a lot of physical symptoms during a spiritual awakening, so watch this video next to see the top body parts most affected by an awakening and what you can do about it. Cut! We are finished with our YouTube video!